you're on the show right now, and I fell asleep during the Red Sox game last night, so I guess we won. So the Red Sox won everyone last night, and I'm just telling people on the chat because I'm live right now, and there's no one here in the backstage. I'm live right now, and there's no one in the backstage. So I thought I would just talk about the Red Sox and that we won 6-5, and what we only have to win. Yeah, 9. They played the small ball. That sounds kind of sexual. Well, fantastic. All right. Well, Tobin's here with me. Thank you, Tobin. I'm going to get off the phone with my girlfriend. The girlfriend says hello, Mr. Tobin. All right. I'll talk to you later.
I say hello to girlfriend.
So the Red Sox won, everyone. So one more game. Of course, a lot of people in Boston just think that, once we beat the Yankees, that was it. That was the end. We won it all. But no, that's not true. There's actually other games after that. See, I don't know a lot about sport ball, but what I just told you is exactly what I know right here.
I actually did enjoy watching the Red Sox play. Like Roger Clemens and Wade Boggs.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the 80s, that's whenever I was paying attention. But
Right. Good stuff.
Yeah, I actually like going to the stadiums and like feeling the energy of it. And whenever there is a good game and there's a good back and forth, you don't really know who's going to win. Those games are more enjoyable than just like watching one team beat the snot out of another.
The girlfriend said, no, we actually won the ADLS, so now we're probably going to be playing Houston next. Oh, good.
Oh.
Okay. John Hudson.
John.
You got the hoodie action going. Oh, dude. Well worth the reveal.
I thought you'd like that.
That was good, dude. That was good.
I love the 45 days of Halloween. It's my favorite time of year.
That's good. I like the horns. I like the reveal.
It looked like a Russian religious guy or something with the hat.
Oh, right, one of the monks and everything. Yeah. So how you guys doing?
Good.
I too am doing well. No complaints from me. I actually got like 8 hours of sleep last night. The cat did not wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning like it did yesterday, like Biscuit did yesterday. So I'm feeling pretty fine. Feeling pretty awake.
Yeah, I'm about 5 hours. Then I'm up for a couple hours, but I nap every day. I'm into this siesta thing.
Nothing wrong with the siesta.
Works.
Yeah. How about you, Tobin? What have you been up to, brother?
Man, I'm just taking care of the building that I'm making. I've actually been caulking up the bathroom and getting ready to like paint it. Like I'm nearing the ending of this project on the inside. The interior is getting very close to being done.
Nice.
That's good, dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's up, D Parks?
Hi, D.
And Blazing.
Blazing Wizard Pope, indeed. Yeah. I got the side chat up over here. I'm gonna try to like pay attention to both. I don't know.
Well, hey, I find it difficult at times myself, but typically when there's only just like 3 of us, and what I'm surprised at, and tell me if I'm wrong, that even when I'm doing the Atheist Drinking Out Loud, I can still manage the side chat typically until I'm totally drunk.
Yeah, I missed the Drinking Out Loud the other night.
Well, you were working, right? You were doing a wedding.
Yeah. The one grandma of the bride, she kept walking on her dress. I'm like, well, just hike it up, put it in your panties. She whispers in my ear, I'm not wearing any.
Oh, Wow. Wow, dude. Bold. Very bold.
Yeah, I thought I was going to embarrass her. Man, she turned me red.
That's good, dude. That's good. That's good. Blazing says, sorry, I've been distracted lately. I've just needed to take a break from the world and had a lot of problems sleeping lately. Yeah. I've had to time myself out. Take a break. I guess that's a nicer way of timing myself out. But yeah, I've had to take breaks before and just do whatever I do to decompress. And I will say that my sleeping, I think I have a handle on my sleeping issues right now, at least for the time being. I don't know if that's going to change over time, but right now I'm in a pretty sweet zone overall in terms of getting decent sleep. And decent sleep means not getting up every hour and a half and not having night terrors or anything like that. So I think I have that under control.
I don't know. I'm gonna start actually moving my schedule a little bit. I'm gonna start waking up a little bit more earlier because I started like my morning started like getting bunched up. I was like, oh, I want to like participate, but like I was rushing around in the mornings. But I got up earlier this morning.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I totally get that, having to wake up. Like I have some nights like that where it's just like one thing happens that makes me have to get up and I got to go take care of that. And then I got to wake up and go pee.
Yep. I forgot to mention this in the regular show, but I cannot do the show tomorrow. I have an appointment at 9 a.m. and that's going to wipe out my schedule for the rest of the day. I mean, I'm going into work at noontime, but I have an appointment and it's kind of important. And so I gotta go do that. So no show tomorrow, everyone. No regular news show, no after party, unfortunately. It's one of those things I can't kick down the road. So there you go. So that's a thing. And also on Friday, I have to work on the secret project, which is certainly going to be coming to fruition soon. And so I'm going to be doing the normal show from 9 to 9:25, and that'll be it on Friday. So no after party on Friday because I have to do secret project stuff before going to work. So there you go. I guess those are announcements or notices or something.
Yeah, you got to take care of responsibilities, and that's awesome. I like the secret projects. I mean, something's coming down the pike, huh?
It's starting to act. I was really skeptical too. I'm like, I don't know, man. But once they start sending you legal documents to sign, that's like, okay, I guess it's kind of going to be real. So
cool.
What happens, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a photo shoot on Saturday where I'm actually the model. I'm going to be modeling Western wear.
Oh, dude, you got the whole vibe for that.
And well, it's $35 an hour and $50 just to show up.
Are you sure it's not porn?
Well, if that's the case, $35 an hour, $50 to show up.
Pretty good for 15 minutes worth of work. Maybe not.
They guaranteed 3 hours. So.
Oh, good for you, man.
And it's just town over Blanco. It's about 15 minutes from me, maybe 20 minutes. So,
D Parks, I can guarantee you that this is one of those necessary things that I would love to talk more about, but I can't. It's one of those things. Like if I talk about it, I can just get further into a trouble bubble, and I'm not into the trouble bubble right now. I just want to say that, but this is one of those. I want to make sure I don't get into the trouble bubble, so I have to go see some things. I have to go see some people about some things. And I guess I did feel a little guilty about that, to tell you the truth. Yeah. And
now you got me wondering.
I can talk about things off camera.
We'll know about it later.
I can talk about things. I can talk about that thing that I have to do tomorrow, definitely. after we stop recording, after we start being live, afterwards. And I can definitely talk about the secret project once it stops being a secret project, which should be very shortly, which should be in the 1st of November or so. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So I'm pretty, I don't get excited about a lot of things, but I'm getting kind of excited about this.
Was Tobin wearing a tie?
He was wearing a tie. Yeah, he's been looking quite dapper lately.
Wow. I'm still in my bathrobe.
Yes. Well, I have to tell you something. This is, besides, of course, going to work, this is a reason for me to look like a human being at 9 o'clock in the morning, right? I mean, I have to look presentable for the camera. Maybe not presentable.
The animals don't care what I look like.
No.
So it's, yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of animals do you have to work with, John Hudson, early in the morning?
I got some goats and chickens. Got the dogs. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. One of my half brothers, he has 50 chickens.
It's a lot of work.
And 2 big pens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of eggs, right? That's a lot of eggs and a lot of chickens.
Yeah, it's about 50. If they're producing right, it's about 50 eggs a day.
Yeah.
I always get excited when I get the double yolk ones.
Oh yes.
Out at the Coupe de Ville, they're pretty well taken care of. I get probably I've got 15 chickens.
15?
So I get about a dozen eggs a day.
That's a good deal, huh?
Yeah, it's more than we eat. I give them away to neighbors, and
that's good.
Got some old folks up the street and stuff, and then what I don't get rid of, I'll take over to the retirement center over here in Dripping. So
that's nice.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah. Actually, my biological mom, she has a motorhome that she doesn't really use. So one of my brothers just put some chickens in there too. The last time we were up, it's like, yeah, those are chickens in that motorhome. Definitely.
I've been to a mobile cat house, but never to a mobile chicken home.
Yeah.
I can just picture that the mobile chicken coop.
Yep, it is. I don't think the mobile home moves a whole lot anymore, but
right. It'd be more fun if it did.
It would be with the chickens and everything. Indeed. Yeah. And
man, I recently found something cool you can do with eggs. Like you could take the shells and cook those and like make it burn all the way through to where it goes through the charcoal stage all the way until it's white again. And you could take that and add it to water and you make a paste, and you can use that to like make different stuff like bricks. Like a concrete. Yeah.
So what's up, Randolph? I just want to review this. So you get the chicken shells.
Mm-hmm.
And goodbye. I guess that was it. Randolph was here and a drive-by wave. Maybe there was I don't know. So you get the chicken shells and how he's back. You have returned, sir. You might have all the best healthcare in the world, but your Wi-Fi may not be up to speed.
Morning, Randolph.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
So the chicken shells, what do you do? Do you boil them? Do you roast them? What do you do with chicken shells?
Get it underneath a very hot fire. It actually takes a pretty intense fire. I've built a kiln basically. It's not very pretty. It's with some of my first bricks I've ever made before, so it's kind of ugly looking, really. But it's my first stage, and then I can build another kiln with better bricks and do a bunch of stuff with it. Really, get I don't know. We like playing with the metals too. My son likes to make knives. Right at this point, he's like been playing with that and other things like that. Hey, tomfoolery.
How you doing, Tom?
Old man, what are you, 40 today? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday if it's your birthday.
Yep, it is.
Happy birthday, man.
When did 40 become an old man, though? This really fucks me up.
Well, I find that at my workplace, I'm the oldest person there, and by decades, I'm the oldest person there, and so I have to rethink my cultural references because I'm not in work for I'm there for like 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, and then I'm driving around for most of the day. So I have to be mindful of my cultural references so that I don't seem like the old guy, which I still think there's branding here.
There's just a lot of stuff I don't understand. It's like microaggressions and things. Being these things my kids are teaching me. I didn't even know they existed. You look pretty good for your age. You look great for your age. I mean, I've always took that as a compliment. I didn't realize that there was any microaggression about it. Just a lot of things have changed, and trying to stay up on top of it all, especially because I'm not part of society. I live out, in the sticks, and
yeah. You raise a good point, John Hudson. Is that it is difficult to be really up to date on the culture. It's difficult to come up to date. In the good things and the bad things. My kid just sent me a message. My daughter, who's in high school, sent me a message about how there's a TikTok face slap challenge for on teachers. So yeah, right, Tobin? Sorry, facial. So there's a TikTok challenge of slapping teachers in the face, apparently, and it's like, well, that's just crazy.
Russian bot.
That's a challenge to commit assault by the sounds of it.
That is a challenge of committing assault, and
somebody's going to get in trouble.
Oh yeah, well, one kid already did it in the school system, not in her school, but at a middle school.
Okay.
It sounds like such a stupid challenge that maybe some high schoolers are actually smart enough not to do it, but the middle schoolers may not be. I don't know.
Really stupid. Really very stupid. Who came up with it? Any idea?
I don't know. Someone on TikTok.
Okay.
And you can see, how these ideas become these memes, right? Just jump from host to host in the most idiotic way possible.
But I was that kid growing up that if I was that challenge was brought forth to me, I would probably fucking do it just because that's just the way I was. I would take any dare.
Yep. Well, John Hudson, you're wiser, and there are some benefits of getting older. One of them is that your forebrain controls your midbrain a little bit more. D Parks, my cat is, especially when the girlfriend's here, my cat will, and I'm jealous about this. My cat will hang out with a girlfriend on her desk as she's doing meetings and doing work. But Biscuit, I think, is doesn't like the yelling that I do in my animated personality when I'm on screen. So yeah, the cat stays clear of me here.
Yeah, and some of us have fuzzy faces. Not sure if you can say cute or not, but
right.
Like everybody's got a fuzzy face.
Big Zebra says a teenager assaulted her teacher with a disability, 62 years old, sent them to the hospital with a series of slaps. Wow. And the kid is now, or the teenager is now in jail. Yeah, assaulting. I would hope that assaulting anyone is a felony. To tell you the truth, I would hope that if anyone hits me, that they're going to get slapped with a charge that would be, the same as anyone else, whether teacher or whatever. And the kid got released on a $25,000 bond. Wow.
It is here in Canada too, and minors, of course, are treated differently, and I understand it's the same in the U.S. that way too.
Yeah. Well, okay. So if the kid slaps a teacher versus an everyday person, or just like a non-teacher, I would think that they would be the same kind of penalties, but maybe not. Maybe they want to try to distance.
If it does result in jail time, one of the differences that there's a juvenile hall instead of regular prison, of course, things like that.
Yeah.
And for younger people, the judges tend to be more lenient.
Yeah.
At least here they are, because usually the fear of the whole process of going to court and having sat around in a jail cell for a little while is usually enough to deter a kid, but not necessarily an adult, I think is the thinking behind it.
Yeah.
If I recall right, I remember a story where the parents were paying for something that the kid had done, and he was committing arson.
Really? Wow. It raises an interesting question about whether or not parents can be financially responsible for the idiocy that their kids do.
Well, to a degree. Like if I think the courts would have to show that the parents knew that there was a problem and had the opportunity to intervene and things like that, right? So
that there was negligence of some
doing it in secret, like going out and doing this stuff, and the parents had no idea. Then it's that would need to be handled differently, because that wouldn't be fair to the parents.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There would have to be some kind of parental negligence.
Yeah.
More than likely for the parents to get into financial problems.
Yeah, and it would have to be much less than broad for sure.
Mm-hmm. I used to work for a short period of time right after college. I worked at a DSS house residence where there were about anywhere from 5 to 9 boys who were separated from their families. So it was a 24-hour residence because they had gotten into trouble of one kind or another. And if they didn't do well there, then they would go into a locked door unit, and that's once again for juveniles. And I think that would be considered juvie hall, maybe. I'm not sure.
Juvenile hall is just another name for that. Yeah. Prison for kids.
Yeah, prison for kids, basically.
Yeah.
But one funny thing is a part of my great parenting style.
Yeah.
One of my parenting little hacks when my kids were young is like, hey, you know where I met your mother, right? In kid jail. So kid jail's a real thing.
Interesting. The question is, when did they conceive? Mind you, if they're about the same age, it probably doesn't really matter too much. Some of the laws are weird that if there's 1 year difference, then there's problems. But it's a murky area, and it varies from place to place.
Well, I was in trouble a lot when I was a kid. And, I had an older brother, an older sister, a younger brother, and a younger sister that never were in trouble. So it wasn't my parents. It's just I was ADHD. I did great in school. I was a straight A student, but I don't think I ever got an S as far as satisfactory as far as citizenship.
Yeah.
They'd tell me to put my head down on my desk. And actually, in junior high, they started having me go to the library, filing books, going to the office to help the office staff, or even remedial classes, going to help them. And that got me through junior high, just because I wasn't fucking bored all the time.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. We have two different flavors of ADHD. I'm much more of the traditional ADD, where I just can look out the window and get distracted and do that, as against to being hyperactive. And yeah, that was good that they did that, John, because you needed to do something with your hands. You needed to do something physically.
I still have a hard time sitting still, you know. And I'm retired where I can sit still, but it's like I'm constantly doing something around the property, or wrenching a car, or building trucks, or whatever. I don't sit still well. In fact, right now I'm kind of antsy. That might be the 6th cup of coffee, though.
It could be, dude. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny for those of us who are old enough, and when they didn't have diagnoses like ADHD or being on the spectrum or anything like that. When we were growing up, and then you're looking back, it's like, and then you're like putting the pieces of the puzzle together. It's like, oh, so that's why that happened, or that's why I acted in that way. That makes sense now.
Well, they put me on the Ritalin, and my mom didn't like it. She's like, I'd rather him be the hyperactive little fuck that he is than the zombie that he becomes.
Well, yeah. Medicine is it's a tough decision for me at least. It was always a tough decision about whether or not, because I have a kid who has ADD, similar to my, no fucking surprise here. My son's ADD style is the same as mine, and it comes out and it manifests itself in a variety of irritating ways. An irrational issue with authority is one, right? I mean, I prefer to think that my issues with authority now are purely rational.
Yes.
Now that I'm 53 years old and I've been able to work out a lot of my shit. But when I was like 16, 17, 18, there was a very laid back, but still quite irrational dislike of any authority. And so we struggled about whether or not to put him on medication, and we tried a variety of different tactics before pulling the trigger on that.
Well, I've found over the years the only thing that's ever helped me is active patience. If I'm doing something, it's like I can tie flies or build fishing rods, which is takes a lot of focus. But as long as I'm doing something, I'm in line. I sit around and I still bounce off the walls.
Right. Well, I definitely have found my symptoms have gotten better over time, whether it's the weird autistic-y stuff or the ADD stuff. It has definitely improved.
It lessens, but you never do outgrow it. That's what they told my mom, and dad when I was a child. Oh, he'll outgrow this and shit. And I'm still, well, it's not as dramatic as it was, but it's still there.
Yeah. Well, the best thing that you can hope for is to manage your symptoms, and that was an epiphany that I had. I don't know how many years ago, but it's like I'm not going to quote unquote cure myself, but it is going to be managing whatever symptoms I have, and that's fine. I'm happy with that.
All right.
And trying to be, I've gotten good enough to be able to pass for normal most of the time, out in public.
I'll never make it to that point. Just run with it, it's what I was given, and so just live with it,
Hey, you got a cat right there, Dr. Tomfoolery, old man.
Oh, man.
What a beautiful cat too.
Nobody at 40 should be able to call himself an old man. That's just rude to us that are 60.
I think I'm in denial about my aging. It hasn't worked as I'd hoped, but I'm still in denial.
I feel you, Randolph.
Yeah, well,
I'm working on it. I'm working on getting there. I'm right.
I don't see a gray hair on you, Tobin.
You're looking sharp. Are you going to do some country music gig today, or music gig? I mean, yeah.
I got dressed up all pretty for y'all.
Oh, that's
Whoa.
so awesome.
I got no gigs.
It's
Except for
appreciated.
showing my place.
You're a pretty motherfucker.
Wow.
Oh. That sounds like something out of a Blues Brothers movie now.
It really does. Yeah.
Thinking of cultural references earlier.
Well, it's funny because they were someone from work was talking about Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. And it's like, oh yeah, I know Phineas and Ferb. I have kids, and then I'm realizing that was probably not the right thing to say. Yeah, that was probably not the right thing to say. Well, Toberman's pretty good, just for being out in Texas in the sun, right? And you don't. I mean, I saw Jon Stewart. I don't know if anyone's seen Jon Stewart and his new show. I just saw a video of Jon Stewart, and yeah, he is old. He's like old. He's like, yeah. I'm not sure exactly how old he is. I didn't Google it. And in fact, there's a video on YouTube. He has a new show. Jon Stewart has a new show on Apple Plus, I think. So he's out of retirement effectively. But
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I have enjoyed his content, but I didn't know he's got a new show that he's put out.
He does. You can see some clips on YouTube. There was this really funny bit of Jon Stewart in the studio with two of his writers, young guys, and Jon Stewart was saying, "It's like, well, I looked at myself in the mirror." And I realized that we had to address the fact that I'm much older.
I just looked it up. Jon Stewart's 59.
Wow. He is not Hollywood 59. He is like, I've been out working with, well, he and his wife have a farm now. So he's been outdoors a lot working with the animals and whatever else you do on a farm, which being a lifelong city guy, I don't know. So he's going to be, Tesla Ranger says he's going to be 59 on November 28th. How about
I
that?
imagine he doesn't have any financial issues in his life. He's that the Daily Show was phenomenally successful and a lot of fun to watch. And I noticed that a lot of people in autism communities really liked him.
Yeah.
He had a really great way of presenting things and with humor and connecting the dots for people who have trouble getting sarcasm and satire. I'm one such person who has trouble with that, and so I found his show to be quite good as well. And he had some other people like Stephen Colbert. Some of his best work was on the Daily Show.
Yeah,
I think. And now you've got Trevor Noah. Wow, Jon Stewart is a nearly impossible act to follow, and Trevor Noah's managed to do it. He's managed to pull it off.
Trevor's good.
And it wasn't easy for him. You could see at the beginning he wasn't quite doing it, but he managed to fill it in and add his own style to it, and but he's done well with it. So I imagine it was probably really difficult for them to pick the right comedian to present and follow in Jon Stewart's footsteps,
Yeah. Well, just the fact that he came from South Africa added a certain amount of gravitas, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And what was really nice is that they gave him time. They gave him a lot of runway to work on.
They had no choice. They had to do that no matter who follows Jon Stewart.
Yeah. Tough act to follow.
Yeah, I caught Jon Stewart on Stephen Colbert's show about a month ago.
That was great.
And he's still right on top. He's sharp as hell.
Yeah.
I loved his debate with Bill O'Reilly, where he pushed the button and he started rising up on a little audience thing to make it better.
There's a really old video out there of Jon Stewart interviewing George Carlin. And I will, every once in a while, I'll just go back to it just to watch George Carlin and a very young Jon Stewart talk. And it's a slice of magic. That's what that is.
Wow.
Well worth I think it's like maybe a 20 minute video, but it's well worth your time.
That sounds like a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody stepped into Carlin's shoes.
Well, it's
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
What?
Well, when we speak of satire, when I read your shit, Andy, it's like, is this fucking real? I mean, and then Dr. Kennard comes out and says, or Professor Kennard, and I'm like, okay, this is not real, but
This is not real.
it makes me wonder at times.
My mechanic looks just like George Carlin, except his hair's longer.
Okay.
I told him, look, if you ever want to get into showbiz, you could just be do George Carlin's routines, and people might even think you're a slightly younger version of him. It's just the guy's not interested in doing presentations. But
He's not interested.
He's not someone who wants to do presentations. He doesn't want to get up on stage and do that kind of thing. A lot of people don't. So.
Yeah, it takes a certain kind of toxic narcissism.
But he's got the look if he ever wants it, because he's just a dead ringer for George Carlin.
There's actually a street in New York City named after George Carlin.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
I believe it's right down the street from where he went to school, which was a Catholic school, I believe. So if you ever
how many comedy clubs want to get set up with their business on that street, I wonder?
Well, it took quite a bit of struggle to actually get the street named after him. The Catholic church, the Catholic school, was not really excited about that.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
they're gradually losing a lot of their clout lately, so that's let's hope this trend continues.
Oh yeah. Well, like I've been saying, as long as the states don't fall into some kind of theocratic fascism. He laughs nervously. The trend lines are pretty clear, right? Religion is dying here. It's just taken a lot longer than in other industrialized countries because we have a shitty social safety net.
The Christian religions are dying off. Islam, it's not, the picture's not so clear, but I suspect it's starting to have some issues as well. I know there's a huge underground movement under many Islamic regimes, and it's just an underground movement to move away from Islam. And stuff. So I think it's a matter of time, and we'll start seeing stuff going on there. There's already been reports of sexual abuse within Islamic circles, and a lot of that stuff is suppressed in the Islamic regimes, but they are leaking out a little bit. So it wouldn't be surprising to me at all if Islamic clergy, or whatever they call them, is having similar problems to the Catholics. I don't know if it's as systemic. It is as wide, as much of a problem, but I guess time will tell.
Yeah, sure enough. Well, it would make you, if religiosity goes down over time as societies become less miserable, for less of a better word, then it would make sense as those societies, those countries have better social safety nets, and of course open up. I mean, that's the big thing. Like Iran, it's already a religious theocracy. It's already I'm sorry for the redundancy. It's already a theocracy. So they have to start working backwards and trying to free themselves from that kind of autocratic rule. Yeah,
and that's one of the things that's going to make it more difficult to unseat religion like Islam, because they're very politically focused as well. Where Christianity is not trying to be a whole legal system, although many Christians say the Bible or the Ten Commandments can work for that. They have no idea what they're talking about, because a legal system is much more complex than that. Islam, they do have the concept of Sharia and whatnot built right into the system, so they're ready to go in and be the new legal system.
The thing is about fascism is that it don't need to make no sense.
That's a good point.
Legal system, we'll just make it up after we grab power. You don't need no stinking legal system.
I can't laugh at that. Fuck, here in Texas, it's like they're doing everything they can to make their, instead of Sharia law, Christian law.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that we have at least three broadly speaking, different viewpoints. We have the Canadian, we have the U.S. citizen here that's in a safe blue state, and of course, John, you're in Texas, which is basically the front, the I don't know, the no man's land of the culture wars, right? It is really the place where all this is being played out and fought over. So yeah, three very different views, I think.
We went up to Llano a couple weeks ago to just go to a barbecue place, but it's like all the Trump flags still flying, and the religion mixed with it, and I could spend a day just going taking photos and making memes about it.
Sure.
It was truly horrifying, if anything, to me.
Yeah,
You know,
It's like Texas is a whole nother country.
it is. It really is. And I mean, I lived in Utah, which, you know, I lived behind the Zion curtain forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then to come here, it was quite the culture shock.
Yeah.
But there again, too, the people that I meet here, most are good people. There is a thing, Southern hospitality is true. They're good people.
Just don't wear out the welcome, because they can get ugly.
I think it's important to note that, you know, like at least with my experience, it's been that even among atheists and theists alike, the vast majority of people seem to be really good people with good intentions. They're not going to hurt a fly, so to speak. It's just the problem is you get a few outliers who are extreme and have loud voices who end up representing, unfortunately, the whole demographic and misrepresenting them.
Well, this is the rule and not the exception. Is that like during the American Revolution, you had 25% of the population who were pro-independent. You had 25% of the population who were pro-British, and most of the people didn't care. Most were like, we just want to live our lives.
Yep.
When you look at today's America, you have 25% of the country who's insane, right? I mean, they're just insane. 25% of the country maybe want to be more like Western Europe, you know, or the Nordic countries. Then you have 50% of the country who are like, meh, we're just trying to live our lives and don't bother us. You know, we're just trying to get through the day and can't really focus on the big issues. But yeah, it's, and I know I've said this before, so I'm going to apologize, but it is really the vocal, well-financed, small groups that steer policy, right? Those are the groups that are dangerous.
Yes, sir.
Like that Randolph Richardson right there.
Yeah, this guy became famous overnight on January 6th of 2021.
Mm.
I think the FBI did finally end up talking with him, didn't they?
Oh, he's in jail.
Oh.
Yeah,
he's been in jail for months.
Yeah, he is.
What did he get charged for?
Fashion felony of the first time.
Various people got charged with various things. A lot of them was trespassing and destruction of public property and things like that. Him specifically.
Yeah.
When it should have been sedition.
Yeah, should have been. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw this picture of the noose, the hangman's noose at that riot on January 6, 2021, I thought, you know, these people are, there's more going on here than people simply, you know, just having a riot. These people
who just
bad intentions. They want to kill someone.
I have really been in conversations where this dude was saying that he wanted to see hanging become a part of the whole thing again, like another punishment, that he could not wait to where they could start hanging people again. He was like, this whole country is going to change and we're just going to start hanging people. We're going to start getting them. I was like, I became very quiet. I knew that I was dealing with somebody who was not running on all their cylinders.
Yeah. I always like, you know, I mean, I like to bring up the big L libertarian argument. It's like, if you don't trust the country to, you know, the government, if you don't trust the government to do its basic job, what makes you think the courts are any different? What makes you, what why would you put power in the government to do those things to its citizens then? It doesn't seem to make sense.
Well, that sedition was very well planned out. I mean, who has an emergency gallows that they just carry around with them?
Well, it's not hard to build those, but they like a lot of people have the supplies around. They could probably fairly easily build it. But that's a good point. You know, that's a lot of effort to bring something like that to a riot.
It was planned to be built. That's right, Dr. Tom Fillory.
And then one of the concerns I have too, like I'm hearing about how the National Guard was prevented from going in to try to deal with the situation.
Right. Yes.
Which seemed very strange to me.
It took I think it was Pence who had to give the order because Trump wouldn't give the order. Yeah. But there was discussion in chat rooms about whether or not they were going to do a guillotine or whether or not they were going to do a gallows. And they figured out that gallows are a lot easier to put up than a guillotine. And I think also it's kind of like maybe a French thing. They don't want to do the French vibe. They want to do a good old-fashioned American gallows.
D Parks is asking us, what, you guys don't have an emergency gallows?
Tesla Ranger, this is new news. I haven't heard about this, sir. Hugh Shaman pleaded guilty today to obstruction of an official proceeding. He's sentenced to 41 to 51 months in prison. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Thank you for sharing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll get his special diet.
Well, yes, he needs to have organic food, I guess, right? For his delicate body. His mom's a lunatic too. I don't know if you guys saw the 60 Minutes. I showed some of that months ago, but his mom's a loon too.
Yeah, there's problems when you tit feed a boy till he's 30.
Okay, so actually he was sentenced on September 3rd then. Okay, I thought I remember hearing something.
It's crazy how they've shut down the reporting on this. I mean, I think it's if it was a Black Lives Matter things, this shit would have been splattered all over the news. Oh, he's got 4 years in prison, hard time, you know.
Well, if it was a Black Lives Matter thing, they'd all be shot in the back, John Hudson.
Yes, absolutely.
It would have been just over within a very short period of time. You can't tell me that a black militia or a black mob storming the Capitol.
Oh, fuck no.
They would have done some kind of Tulsa riot thing and just dropped bombs on them. Or
they would have fucking nuked them.
There would have been a stronger response. Yeah.
But respectable terrorists.
Yeah, well, well, they're white, so of course, and they're Republicans, so they're true Americans storming the Capitol.
To kind of bring it back to like what you were talking about earlier, the disparity gap and how like there was during COVID, minority groups have had a pretty rough time, and I remember seeing a video whenever they started to give out the checks.
Yeah.
And it was a video like they were standing in the parking lot, and there's a very large group of people, and they're all at this tax office trying to cash their check. And there's like 3 cops that came up, and one of them was like in somewhat of a dress shirt or whatever. And he tells them, that this tax office made a mistake, and it was why they kept their doors closed. But it was just like, you heard everybody just like, just completely, like, holy shit. Like, yeah, I don't know.
It's difficult for some people, for a lot of people in this country, to get basic banking services. I think we've talked about that before. So if you're poor and, if you don't have the minimum amount to put into your bank account, then what happens is that you can't get a bank account, and that you have to go to the check cash. I mean, this is what I had to do. I remember when I was much, much, much younger, I had to go get my a check cash in place, which of course they charge you for cashing your check. So not only are you too poor to get a bank account, but then you get less money from your paycheck because you have to cash it at a check cashing shop.
And they're gonna take their little pinch.
Oh yeah. They take their cut.
Sad.
Deep Parks asks, did you guys see the former guy who issued a statement to the parents of the woman who was shot at the Capitol? I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that, D.
I know the FBI has been going after a lot of the people who've been there. Apparently, they want to track down every single person and at least have a conversation with them, which I think is a good thing.
Well, if you're trying to overthrow the government, perhaps they should at least get a talking to.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
The minimum balance at my checking account and savings account at my local credit union is $5. So I'm not sure if that's the difference for a credit union versus like a bank. I never bother having accounts at banks. I prefer the credit unions.
Yeah. Credit unions are usually the best way to go because they're owned by the stakeholders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like a co-op of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it with banks getting off on Columbus Day? Like, that was kind of like a little monkey wrench, like for us. Like, we're like, wait a minute, y'all are closing, and it just lined up with some bills and like being able to, yeah. But what the heck for Columbus Day?
It was a
federal holiday. I think, and it was started in 1934. I know I covered the story yesterday, but I think it was 1934 when it first started. And of course, it was meant to help Italian Americans so that they, against all the prejudice that they faced. But obviously, they picked the wrong poster child.
Yeah, there's a couple of holidays that they just merged into the Uniform Holiday Act.
But it sucks because it's like, okay, it's like, certain groups of people get to have that holiday, but for the rest of us, we're all working. That's a normal, like Columbus Day isn't, anything that I really recognize, like my life still, that's like a working day kind of. I don't know. I don't know.
I just want to bounce back to the banking and poverty. I'm looking at the Berkeley Economic Review, an article from April 15th, 2019. In 2017, a survey conducted by the FDIC found that a number of unbanked households in the U.S. was 8.4 million, with an additional 24.2 million underbanked households that were not participating or have limited participation in traditional financial institutions. Interesting.
Yeah, I was part of that percentage for a very long time. I mean, I probably only had a bank account steady for the past 7 years. I think that's about when we started getting back on track with a lot of things. But there was a huge chunk of time, over 10 years, where I was just like, no way. I don't even have a constant amount of money to be able to keep in the bank. I'm just going to be hit with fines. And like, we would get hit with $30 fines here and there. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
Well,
one adds up over time, and part of the problem I understand with the U.S. is it's not an unusual thing for banks to go bankrupt due to lack of regulation, mainly.
What were we going to say, Dr. Tom Fuller?
There are two big issues with underbanking: is like minimum balances and just locations near certain areas. Like again, with my credit union, I live in a poorer part of St. Paul here, but my credit union is right in this neighborhood. I can just walk over there, and they have their office right there. Minimum balance $5, so that's helpful for a lot of people around here.
Yeah.
That's not true for everywhere.
So
No,
Places
it's
where
not.
there's just no banks anywhere near them, you need minimum deposits of much higher than that, and just makes it inaccessible.
Typically here it's $1,000 or $2,000.
Yeah.
yeah,
Doesn't cost me nothing to put it in a coffee can and bury it out in the
your
backyard.
coffee cans, John Hudson. You and your coffee can. It's insured by the dirt of Texas. That's what that is.
It's safe.
One of the things I heard on NPR recently is that the banks are supposed to be getting these stress tests. The U.S. banks are supposed to be getting stress tests every once in a while, and right after the financial disaster in 2007, pretty strenuous stress tests. It's no surprise, and this is why Senator Elizabeth Warren was yelling at, I think it was the FDIC chairperson, yelling at Yellen about her shitty job, making sure that the banks are properly funded, because there's been backsliding. There's been backsliding over time. So that was my my little geek bit of knowledge there dropping. Deep Park says there's a pic of the woman who got shot in the Capitol. There's a pic of her grandmother wearing "Say Her Name" shirt. Yeah, that's disturbing too. There is an uptick in. I was talking with Jason Foe over at Dragons and Genesis, and he pointed out that after large military conflicts, that the amount of civil unrest and actual serial killers bump up quite a bit in a country, because you have all these people coming back traumatized with head injuries. And I'm not surprised that the woman who got shot was a vet, and I'm not surprised that there are a lot of vets in the MAGA movement. I'm not surprised about that. And if there was a way to diagnose people easily of head injuries, even minor head injuries, closed brain, it's enough to like mess up your forebrain and to shut off your or to highly limit your executive functions, your ability to reason.
Well, people going to war are being trained to kill a large number of people. So it is not surprising that the serial killer rate does go up, and even the murder rate probably does too.
Oh yeah. Societal unrest.
And this is not, to be clear, this is not meant to vilify anybody who serves. Like, these people are very generous going out and serving and putting their lives on the lines for it, But I think that there's been talk of this in various articles in the last couple decades about how to add a follow-up training to get people back and reintegrated into society, to undo this kind of stuff that has been largely ignored in past wars.
Yeah, but that costs money, right? That's what the Republicans would say. Well, that's probably what Democrats would say too, is that, it takes a couple of $1 trillion to blow a fucking war in Afghanistan. How do we don't have any money left to take care of soldiers?
Sounds like a lack of planning. Maybe we need more politicians.
Yeah.
The VA needs better funding, needs better management.
Yeah.
My mother was a veteran, and I have nothing but praise for the VA. She had breast cancer twice.
Oh wow, dude. Yeah.
They didn't. She was the only woman that was in the hospital at the time, because there just wasn't a big presence of women in the military, and then becoming aging and such. But yeah, I have a lot of love and respect for the VA hospitals, what they do with what they have. There's some great people there.
But definitely need more funding. On that note, everyone, I'm going to have to close up the shop because I have to go to work. Thank you, panel.
Hey,
thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be debating with a Muslim on September 30th on Modern Day Debate. So we're still working out the topic.
Okay, I'd be curious what the topic is.
How do we find you, Randolph?
It looks like it looks like they it's going to be something about if Allah is real or the Quran or Islam is completely proven or something like that. Obviously, I'm on the atheist side of that. So, John Hudson, to answer your question, how to find me, people can find me on Twitter. My handle there is Randolph828. And that's Randolph spelled with an F, not a PH, no matter what autocorrect tells you.
Right.
And my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Randolph Richardson.
Interesting.
I'll look you up on the YouTube. I don't twit.
I'll put a link in the private chat
Oh,
for you.
John, you'll always be a twit to me.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Andy. As always, these are very engaging streams. Always enjoy them.
Good. I'm glad to have you here. Thanks everyone who's watching, observing, lurking. Take care, everyone. No show tomorrow. Got to do things. Back again on Thursday.